As we just said in the intro, I'm really excited to get into this subject. It's one that you've all requested, and that is the sustainability of a salon. How can we make this better? Well, to come onto the show today, I'm really excited to have JC Aucamp of Salon Sustainability. So welcome to How to Cut It in the Hairdressing Industry podcast, JC.
Hi Dom, thank you for having me. Thanks for the invite, and really excited to share some ideas with you and tell you a bit more to what we do and who we are.
Yeah, wicked. I'm like I say, it's a big subject, isn't it, JC? This one has been building, and actually the first time I ever remember coming up with this kind of conversation, it was with an Australian hairdresser some time back, and they were talking about salon sustainability. God, this was about 3 years ago, but now it's here in the UK.
Well, it's here in the UK. It's quite a new program actually in the UK, and it's just we've become more aware of just how much waste actual salons produce and how much waste one client can actually produce throughout a year. So it was a bit of a no-brainer, but it's also such a hot topic at the moment, and just felt like, you know what, the time is right. We've had a big lockdown back in March, and it was the right time to kind of put everything together, and salons have had time to kind of stop and pause and realize how much waste they're producing in their salons, and actually having the time to look into it and say, hey, it is actually time now for us to look at making these changes and becoming greener salons.
And I guess, is this what you're trying to do with salon sustainability, is make that easier and make that process easier for us all?
Yeah, so we've come up with 5 different recycling bins for salons. So we do hair, we do paper, we do foil and metals, so it's hair, it's paper, it's foil and metals, it's chemicals, it's plastic. Yeah, so that's the 5 different ones that we run. And then we run a PPE recovery program as well. But first with the bins, we have these 5 bins set up in salons, and it makes separating recycling really simple. So for instance, in my salon, I have my foil bin right underneath my basins. So the moment the foil is in the basin, it gets squashed together, it goes straight underneath, it goes into that foil recycling bin. So
what does that foil, when that gets recycled, JC, this is what I'm really interested in as well, is actually what happens to that foil once it goes back and gets recycled?
Well, to tell you something back, the foil, only 1% of foil has ever been actually recycled from the hair salon. So the foil actually goes to specialist recycling companies that we signed up with. So that foil, these guys basically take contaminated foil, and they got special ways that they treat it, and that they will actually extract the metal from it again, and foil and any other aluminium products can actually be used again and again. So, and foil is a product that can be recycled over and over. It doesn't lose its quality or any of that. So it's literally remoldable, remake.
So that foil that's got colour all on it, off it goes into the bin. Yeah. They can treat that down, and it can get reused again and again and again.
Exactly.
I've got your website up in front of me, and I just again say to our listeners, salonsustainability.club. You talk about what you recycle here. Now, one that you've got is hair recycling. Now,
yes.
When we spoke and I just said to you, I had a conversation sometime about a guy called Sean. He talked about this in Australia, and because clients will often say, "Oh, what can you do with this hair?"
We get that question all the time.
Hair.
Yeah, we can recycle hair. So hair is, there's a few ways of actually using hair. So hair is compostable. But hair needs to have certain components to be able to break down. It doesn't break down on its own. So the bad thing is, when hair just ends up in the regular bin, it ends up in landfill, hair actually will create greenhouse gases. So over time that happens. So yeah, again, and that's really bad for the planet and bad for, the environment and our soil and everything like that. So it causes greenhouse gases, and that's why we figured a way how to recycle hair. And there's lots of exciting stuff that we're making with hair. One is hair booms. I've put a video on our Instagram page of how a hair boom actually works. In the industry, in terms of hair booms, there's a few companies that prefers to use synthetic ones, but when it's been trialed and tested, hair ones actually work far better because hair actually holds on to oil. We all know that hair loves oil, so
that's right. Yeah.
And the great thing is that the hair actually holds the oil holds onto that hair for days and days. It can stay there, to be honest. It's not a quick one-off. So hair booms actually works far better. The great thing about it is as well that the oil can actually be taken off of a hair boom afterwards, and that oil can be refined again and reused again. And then the hair boom can actually be used again as well.
But you talked also, with the hair. So is there anything else that we can do with the hair, or what you guys can do with that hair?
The other thing that we're working on at the moment is we're working with a fertilizer company. So we're making compost with the hair. So again, hair needs to be mixed with certain ingredients to be able to break down, as in becoming a compost, because hair has actually got a lot of nitrogens in it and a lot of good things in it. So it takes time to break down. So as it breaks down, it actually feeds the soil at the same time as well. So that's one of the things we're working on. There's some other exciting stuff in the pipeline that's still coming, to be honest, sort of later in the summer.
Oh, you can't leave us hanging on that one. Any tasters? Maybe any little clues to what could be there?
Well, it's plant. We design planters with hair. So we designed these special hair planters that you can actually put seedlings into, that can go straight into the soil, and you pop your seedling into that, and that hair pod is actually going to break down into becoming compost gradually as well. Yeah,
it's phenomenal, the technology, but it's really uplifting to hear this, really, isn't it? And I'm sure you're being educated all the way along as well about the whole sustainability and what can be recycled and the future of it, and from a salon point of view. But we're going back in. So again, I'm just looking at your site here: recycling, plastic recycling. You covered chemical recycling. What's this mean?
So chemical. I mean, in salons we always have excess color that's left. We don't always mix enough color, or we mix too much color basically. So there'll always be some color left in a bowl, or a bit of bleach, or something.
I can see salon owners shaking their heads here.
yeah, exactly. So and again, that'll be something that will generally go to landfill, and it will soak up into the ground, into the soil, and that can end up on contaminating the earth as well as waterways. So we have teamed up with a chemical recycling company, and when we send our chemicals to them, they put it through a process where they spin it, and they separate the sludge of the chemical basically from the water. So once the water has actually been separated, that water then gets purified, and that water will go back into mainstream. And then the sludgy bit that's left will either be recycled into whatever they can recycle it into. If it can't be recycled, then that will be incinerated and turned into new renewable energy.
So pretty much everything that is in the salon, really, there is ways of recycling this here, JC.
Yeah, totally. I mean, the chemicals.
I just thought you'd bung your chemicals down the sink, rinse it out with the colour bowl, and that's kind of what would be the process without actually damaging too much.
Yeah, you would think so, but where it's going to end up is where we don't know. And I think it's such an easy way just to kind of, let's just ditch it in the bin. It's going to go somewhere. I mean, it's kind of peace of mind nearly in a way not to know where it's going to end up. But I think everybody has become so much more aware of where does my waste actually go, and can we recycle what we use? I mean, even coming back to the chemicals, 90%, up to 90% of the chemicals that we dispose of can actually be water, up to 90% of it. And that's why it's so important, because water gives life, and
90%.
That's why it can be up to 90% of color waste can be water. And then there's a bit of sludge there.